Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ranking Member, General Milley, thank you for that candor. I appreciate that statement. Gentlemen, to both of you, obviously, what we've seen with the security environment in what I call the swath of the Sahel is deteriorating. Since 2018, the area has experienced an over 200% increase in Islamic VEO violence in western Niger, Burkina Faso, and in Mali. In Burkina Faso alone, we're seeing U.S.-designated terrorist groups, including the Islamic State, control much of Burkina Faso's national territory, especially in the northern and eastern regions. Chairman Milley, first, what's your assessment of the expanding violence in and across the Sahel? And second, as we focus on great power competition with China and Russia, can you discuss why we should care about counter-VEO and counterterrorism efforts in Africa?
The various groups that are in Africa, both East Africa and West Africa, have expanded in their capability. They do have aspirational intent to strike either the United States or our interests in Europe or elsewhere. They haven't done it yet, but they have the aspiration to do that. The particular threats that you're talking about in West Africa are expanding. They are moving down towards the coast. They're destabilizing large sections of West Africa. Doesn't matter to the United States. Is there a national security interest at stake there? That's for others to decide. I would argue, though, that there are some key countries there that if they became destabilized, there would be a spillover effect. And that's why we have a limited number of troops working in train, advise, assist missions to help those countries secure themselves against those threats. These are al-Qaeda-affiliated organizations, by the way. This isn't just a local group of guerrillas for whatever their local reason is. These guys are like ISIS. They're al-Qaeda derivatives. They have an ideology. It is not an existential threat to the United States. It's not like a Russia or China, but they can do significant damage, as we saw in 9/11. And if we don't attend to it with a modest amount of resources, then the problem will get worse.
And therefore, they're a threat to any American troops that we have in that area.
Absolutely.
Secretary Austin, of that note, last year it appears to have been the deadliest for civilians in Burkina Faso, with the state experiencing 2 military coups, regional insurgencies linked to al-Qaeda, as the general just mentioned, and the Islamic State, and overt outreach from the Wagner group even. Last March, the former commander of U.S. AFRICOM submitted an endorsement to provide our service members stationed in Burkina Faso with imminent danger pay. And last week, U.S. AFRICOM, at a posture hearing right here, General Langley reaffirmed that our service members there should receive IDP. Secretary Austin, do you believe that the security environment warrants these benefits for our service members in those countries? In Burkina Faso.
I do, sir, and because of that, we very recently designated Burkina Faso as an imminent danger pay area, and that will be effective retroactively back to February 1st, 2022.
Outstanding. Thank you, and I appreciate that. Moving on, though, because I can't just let it go there. I've worked with my colleague Austin Scott on designated Burkina Faso, Chad, Mali, and Niger as qualified hazard duty areas to support our service members as they face considerable expanding threats in that region and providing them with tax exclusion benefits. Would you assess the security situation in Chad, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger as warranting consideration for qualified hazardous duty area designation?
As we did with Burkina Faso, we're going to have to go back and look at, all of the things that go into the decision-making process on this, and where appropriate, we'll make sure we're doing the right things. But it's important to me to take care of our troops. So.
As it is for me, and if there's anything I can do to help you with that, Mr. Secretary and General, please let me know. Gentlemen, thank you very much. I yield back.